Welcome to Truth Forum, a forum to discuss truth in a friendly surrounding like we do at home at the kitchen table. I'm your host, Dr. Smith. My co-host, DJ Jones Deacon, will continue to lead compelling, relatable, and honest conversation. We will talk about wealth and economics and how to solve community problems. When we do have our guests, they will range from community leaders and professionals and real people whose lives will touch and inspire you. The vision is to catalyze, energize, and bring people together. So if you'd like to be a guest at the kitchen table, you can call us at 269-282-1490 or email us at kingdombuildersworldwide2@gmail.com. We have some great conversations today, but we also know that we are competing, Deacon, with some playoffs going on. We just finished watching the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, first of all, how you doing, Deacon?
I'm doing fine, Bishop. How you doing today?
Haven't seen you in a while. You doing okay?
I'm doing fine.
How's the family?
It's been a couple hours.
Good.
Yeah, family's doing great.
Good.
Mom and Dad's doing well.
That's good. You know, I really don't start watching the football until the playoffs.
That's when it's really exciting.
Yeah. When my son was playing, I was always into it, and coaching, of course, now. But it started off with the Kansas City Chiefs was doing their thing. And then, before you know it, the Cincinnati Bengals started coming in, and they won by 3 points.
Yeah. It didn't look good for Cincinnati in the first half.
No, it didn't. Not at all. That's why you got to stay to the end.
Exactly.
He that endureth unto the end.
That's right.
So now I know we're competing against who's playing right now at 6:30.
Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers. So we're competing against them. So you guys can still watch us or tune in, and at the same time, because of this electronically, we're able to do some other things. Hey, before we do anything, Deacon, I wanted to talk about a couple things. We received an email from our spiritual nephew, Terrence Todd. He sent this to me, and those who understand the church world, we believe that there's prophets, individuals who hear the voice of God, and sometimes they share their thoughts. And he sent this to me, and I want you to read it. Got to read out loud so everybody can hear. And let's kind of talk about this for a minute. As you all know, Terrence Todd, he's a native of Battle Creek, was a commissioner. He was the principal, a grade principal on several boards, and very, very effective. And he even got appointed in the White House under the former President Donald Trump. And now he's with the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C., and he's doing a lot of wonderful things. So why don't you read what he wrote? He felt this is what God sent him, and let's share that thought.
Okay, this is a message from, as Bishop said, from Terrence Todd, and it reads, "Good morning, Bishop. I was awakened by a dream that showed me KBW was going to become a full operation and busy. You were getting messages from outside businesses wanting to join the operation as well to help with your expansion. There were youth as well helping to run the store and your media. You were simply walking around supervising. It was a lot going on. There, but it appears that God sent the people to make it all happen."
So when I saw that, of course, that was good to hear from a spiritual perspective. The Bible says that He add to the church daily, such as to be saved. But I also understood that sometimes we have to be equipped when God sent people. Absolutely. And sometimes we can get too many not prepared. So what were some of your thoughts that one of the head people at the organization when you read that. What's your thought to that?
Well, when I read that, it just brings to mind that the seeds have already been planted, and things are already starting to come together. However, we still need that body of people to help bring everything to fruition.
Yeah.
Because the Kingdom Builders is growing, and it's getting busier and busier. And if you don't already know, we got a lot going on right now, Kingdom Builders, and it takes people to run a business. And so when I read this message from Pastor Todd, it just it enlightened me. And so this was pretty much a prophetic word saying that what is to come. Again, the seeds have already been planted,
right?
Okay, and they've already been started to water. Now all we're just waiting for is the rest of the fruits.
Yeah.
To bear.
That's good. So we're looking for this to happen, and we thank you for being in tune with God, spiritual nephew and pastor, for those wonderful words. On the business tip, I noticed that there was some conversation about the driver's ed. You being one of our instructors, let's talk briefly about that before I get into some of my points I want to share. I read where somebody was looking for a driving school and was paying $450. And it's important that you understand that I'm not here to compete with any other schools. We came here to provide a service, but we're also conscious of the financial matters. But I read one post, they were paying $350, what they say, 20 years ago?
20 years ago. Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yes.
So I believe it's clear that we're definitely have created a rate at $355 that is very, very
it's affordable.
Affordable,
yeah,
for anybody. So you've been on staff and one of the instructors. Why don't you give a thought to the school and some of your encouragements to our young people and to our parents?
Yeah, one of the things that is really good about Kingdom Builders Driving School is that we are affordable. It's not too expensive. I mean, there's places in Grand Rapids, I heard, that charge $700 for segment one. Most places charge $550, $500. But again, we're here to provide a service, and we don't want to put the parents at a hardship. There's vehicles that we have to take care of. There's staff that you have to pay. However, God is making a way. Students constantly say, and they talk about how much they like the driving school, and it's not just, it's the attention and that connecting with the kids that they really, really like. Because again, we are spiritually based, so that is the basis of our business. And kids like it, parents appreciate it. Definitely love the price. I mean, you can't beat the price for the service that you get.
Good. So we want to just encourage you, if you got any questions, you can call the office. We have the website, and I just encourage you to look into it yourself, and we will promise you, you will feel very, very good, and your children will be very excited. Also, as you know, we are one of the organizations that do have the mask. Chanel, what the numbers again? The
N95. N95.
N95. So we have the N95. The office will be open again starting tomorrow. So they gave us a certain amount. We have 5 to a bag, and they're sealed, so we don't have to worry about nobody touching your bags, but 5 per family. And the office open probably about 10 a.m. So you can come at the church at 50 Spencer, and we will be able to accommodate you. All right, let's talk about some things that I want you all to get prepared for. I asked Deacon, if you think about this statement and tell me what's your thought. This was in my heart and my spirit. If the reward is bigger than the risk, always take the risk. When you hear that, as a coach, life coach, to our peers, to our children, to yourself, if someone say, if the reward is bigger than the risk, always take the risk. How do you see that?
If the reward is bigger than the risk, always take the risk. If you take the risk, to me, that means that in the long run, there will be a reward.
Okay.
Okay? If the reward is bigger than the risk, sometimes you got to have, the way I see it, you got to have that What is what I'm looking for? That delayed gratification. Okay. And I guess what you're looking for is that big thing down the road.
Okay. And also, you have to be willing to take a risk.
Right.
A lot of people are so comfortable.
Life is all. It's a risk.
Yeah. A lot of folks are comfortable. They're not willing to take a risk.
Right.
And the reason why I start off this way is because we want to talk about 2022. Today is the 30th or the 31st?
Today is the 30th.
All right, so we are now about to go into our second month. So I want to throw some things with you. What if this year wasn't like any other year before? Okay? What if this thing or this year you want to get done actually happened? Because remember, we all had our resolutions. What if this year you crushed every single expectations you set yourself? And that's why I said if the reward is bigger than the risk, always take the risk. So you got your New Year's resolution. You got all these big plans. Remember, we talked about this in the beginning. But most people, when we roll to February, they've already given up. So the question to my audience, to you live in the studio, to my guests, are you going to be one of them? Will you give up? Now, it's already February next week. I wonder how many people, December 31st, January 1st, made their promises, and they've already given up. I want to encourage all of you that's listening and watching, if I can inspire you not to give up. Deacon, in these 31 days, what kind of resolutions did you have? Did you make any? And are you on point?
I made some personal promises, resolutions to myself, and right now I'm on point. Again, it's a process. You know, some things don't happen overnight. You want some things to be different in your life, you got to make those changes. You know, nothing's going to happen. You know, you can't snap your fingers and all of a sudden miraculously, you know, problems or issues or things that you want to work on all of a sudden appear or go away. You know, it's a process, and you just got to stay on point. You know, just like practicing in a sport. You know, you can't go out there on the field and all of a sudden think you're going to score a touchdown. There's preparation and prepare. You got to prepare yourself and study and practice and do those things. You know, that's my opinion.
So Deacon being my co-host, we're going to start a brief lesson. I'm going to have him chime in as like the guests and also as those listening. So if you want this year to be different, the first thing is you have to act differently. Okay, you can't want it to be different and act the same. So that's the first law of plan. You want extraordinary results, then don't act ordinary. You see? Those are, I want to encourage you all that. If you want extraordinary results in 2022, do not act ordinary. And you can't want things that most people don't have and act the same way they do.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the secret to the best year ever, 2022, begins with what expectations you have set for yourself. If you really want this to be the best year, you have to do things differently. And on this show today, we don't have a guest per se, Deacon and I, on this show today, so I'm going to encourage you to come back, view it, look at it later. You might be looking at the game back and forth, but please go back and watch this show. It's extremely important. I want you to grab some paper, get you some notes, because class is in session at the kitchen table. So what we're going to do this. For an example, what do you want from your family? That's the first thing we want to talk about. You want to write down exactly what are your expectations in terms of your relationships, with your parents. So that's separate from your spouse or your significant other. And remember, this is the world you're going to live in, so figure out the things that are actually valuable. Because see, now we're giving people straight systems. So let's just say you're one of the students. It's 2022. You know, what do you want for your family? You have older parents. They got expectations of you. You got expectations of them. You got siblings. I'm not sure how many significant others you have.
That is funny.
He said that. We said he said that. You know, we try to joke sometimes, nigga.
That's all right.
Nigga, we try to be comfortable, nigga. Folks just, sorry about that. So, nigga, but that's serious, right? Because you've been taking care of your parents.
Right.
So, you don't have to respond to your situation, but how important that is for when you start doing your goals, that's important.
Yes, absolutely.
So how important you think that is?
I mean, it's important because your family, people that depend on you, need you to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and if you make a promise, then you need to be there and deliver on that promise.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it helps build you, and it helps build confidence in you.
But you'd be surprised how many times that's never dealt with.
Right.
We just wake a new year and we go back to the same motions.
Right. I don't make promises if I don't expect certain things to happen and there's no disappointments.
Okay.
I don't go beyond my means of what's real.
Okay.
And what's not. So, and you said it a while back, and I'm not sure who said it first, but I remember you said if there's no expectations, then there's no disappointments.
Correct. Yes.
You know,
yes.
so you got to make sure that those goals are attainable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that they make sense.
Yeah.
And that they're real.
Yep. Yep. So that's important. As a goal setter, you need to look into that. I have another point I want to bring out. What do you want from your friends? First of all, who are your friends? See, you'll be amazed. We're trying to build, we're trying to be something great in 2022. Mm-hmm. We got all these folks around us, but we got to now start narrowing down who's with you so you can get where you're trying to go. Mm-hmm. And why are you friends with them? That's important. Mm-hmm. And where do you want the relationship to go? This is something I learned years ago, and it's so true. Remember, DJ, and remember you that's watching and listening, you are the average. And think about it, let's do some math. You are the average of 5 people you spend most of your time with. You are the average of 5 people. So pick in your mind who all you spend the most time with. You're the average of that. So what you and I need to do is to make sure we bring up that average. Mm-hmm. How you gonna bring up the average? How do you? Let's say you got 4 people. Mm-hmm. Let's pick 4 folks in your life. Mm-hmm. You want to bring up the average. How do you bring up the average?
You have to be influential. You have to be that person that you have to be the leader in that circle.
Or they may have to get kicked out your circle.
Or yes, that too. Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious, right?
You might have to find new friends. You know.
I mean, this ain't personal, DJ.
No, it's not.
If you try to develop, and I'm telling you, you're the average. So if everybody you hang around with,
right,
you're the average of that.
Right.
So we do our math. Say, okay, I hang with this buster, this chump, this rookie, this loser, and then me. Well, no, we were old school. We've been together forever. Okay, well, that's why y'all there. I mean, it ain't personal, right?
Right.
Or you elevate them, but it's a good chance they may not want to roll with you. Mm-hmm. Just remember, I would never tell you who to run with. All I'm saying is you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with.
Now, they can still be friends, but they shouldn't be part of your inner circle. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right. But if you want to change that perspective, then you have to remove yourself from that. If you can't change the people that you're around, then you remove yourself from that group.
You could.
Right?
I mean, you're just the average. I'm letting you know, whatever we're trying to do in 2022, we need to evaluate who's around us.
And so you're saying that you need to surround yourself with birds of a feather.
If that's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to give my audience a chance to look at this. So from my perspective, if it's lonely at the top, I talk about that all the time. Man, I'm all by myself up here. It just means I didn't do enough job in bringing people up. You follow me?
Yep.
So as leaders, if you say it's lonely at the top, and you already said you're the average of 5 people, then you are responsible to how you elevate folks up with you. That's what leaders have to learn how to do. How do I get you up to that level,
right,
so we can remain who we are? This is how you build. We never do that. In our community, we don't write stuff down. We don't think about notes. I'm not going to say everybody, but we have a vision, but we don't write it down. You'll be surprised how many people haven't yet wrote their vision down. They may say it's in my head, but until you write it down, because if you write it down, you can see it every day. So I want to encourage all of you, mainly the so-called leaders. If it's lonely at the top, it just means you didn't bring enough people with you. Okay? So here's another point I want you to do. We're in class right now. We're in lesson. What do you want from your career? See, these are life coaching questions where we sit down with young adults, individuals soon to retire. What do you want to do this year professionally? If you ask people right now that question, you'll be amazed they don't have an answer. Where is your business or career going? Well, Bishop, I don't have a business. Well, let's think for a minute. I just saw in the newspaper that Michigan, the governor of the state of Michigan, is giving money to organizations that have restaurants or recreation workout rooms. So, if you don't have a restaurant and you don't own a workout gym, and you read they're giving out millions of dollars, what's your thought? What is your thought? How would you view that? Honestly. Not just you, but how would people view that?
I guess to myself, I would ask the question, why just those 2 types of businesses?
Okay.
Number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, how long is that going to happen? And if it does happen for a long time, can I somehow get into that number and get me a business so I can get some money?
There you go. The whole point is, that's the point. Many times we get upset. Man, that ain't fair. When I'm going to get something? Well, the question is not when I'm going to get something. The question is, when do I start a business to be eligible to get something? If you're not noticing this whole pandemic, they give us money for masks, food, soup, crackers, boxes of lunch meat, right? Peanut butter. They'll give us that, right? But that big money is only going to people who what? Have a business.
Right.
So what does that tell you? Have a business.
Get a business. Absolutely.
And I've always said every family needs to have a business. I ain't talking about just something you just made up. You need to have something that brings value to your community. That's why we started the driver's ed. And we did it with fairness. We looked at the rates of what other folks are starting, rates at $550. We went right in the middle. We didn't want to get too low because we don't want nobody to think it's some little, hole in the wall business. Got professional drivers. We're certified, licensed by the state of Michigan. But we were what? So what we do? We met a need. We provide a service, and we bring value. And when you bring value, money cometh.
Right.
That's the message, DJ, we got to get across to our families, man. Instead of getting on the news and getting mad that we didn't get nothing, get in the business world.
That's true.
What take us so long? You and I and Brother Lamar talked about that last week. Why is it that we struggle with that?
I mean, it's a good question. I'm sure there's more than just one answer, but sometimes people just don't educate themselves enough to understand what it takes to do that. You know, they don't open up their understanding. You know, you gotta find out. I mean, you don't get anything free. I mean, something costs. Everything you get costs something. Whether it's time or money or whatever, you got to put some effort in it. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of people just don't understand what it takes. Mm-hmm. You know, how do I get that? You know, then when you get it, you got to be able to sustain it and keep it. Mm-hmm. You know, so I just think it's just a lack of knowledge.
You think it's fear involved?
I think there's a lot of fear involved. Absolutely.
Fear of failure?
Fear of failure. You know, fear of the unknown. Yeah, all the above.
So how do I encourage you all? I encourage you to look at your circle.
Comfort zone. People can be
comfort zone. Find out that anybody in your 5, do they have a business? All right, does anybody have a business in your 5? You follow me? Mm-hmm. Now let's just say no one in your business, in your 5 got a business, and you are what percentage? I told you are average of that, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a good chance you don't have one either.
Right.
Now, I ain't making you, I'm not saying that's bad. That's why I try not to hang around a lot of fat guys.
Go ahead.
Because if I'm already average, man, our fathers eat pizza.
Right.
You see what you see?
Right.
That's why I try to roll with you, but you don't want to roll with me. So
that's not true.
So me and Lamar, we try to work out together because he's a little chunky and I'm chunky. So we try to do better.
I just have to adjust my schedule.
Yeah. Okay. So, and now with that in mind, you guys, I want to say this to you all. And I know some of y'all probably watching the football game, so please share this thought. 50 and over, we want to start 5 a.m. Lamar's in town. He's going to be working part-time now on Friday to Monday. So Monday morning, we want to start having 50 and over in the gym, basketball. We got the showers downstairs. The whole goal is, you guys got to go to work, assumingly. So you're going to come hoop, shower, boom, go to work. Or if you work nights, you get out of work, you wait till 5 and come hoop. 50 and over, because we're going to try. I need something other than treadmill. I'm bored with the treadmill. Mm-hmm. And so I figure if I get back into that, now I'll probably look like a Will Chamberlain wearing knee pads and and all that stuff. But I'm saying that seriously. You that's 50 and over, we're going to be inviting you. Lamar and I are going to do a quick little glimpse announcement. We want to start tomorrow, but that may be too soon. But we're going to put the word out in the gym, 5 a.m. to about 6 o'clock. The whole purpose is fellowship, exercise, competitive, and go forward. Because, mm-hmm. Deacon, at the end of the day, we have to still take care of our bodies.
Right.
And you do a good job at that. Mm-hmm. Deacon, I have to admit, you have done it. Since I've known you, you've always been very solid with that. And with that being said, again, I keep asking you these questions. Is there a certain time of the day you stop eating? For real?
Yeah, there is. I think most of it, and I don't always eat healthy. I love a cheeseburger every now and then,
a cheeseburger now and then.
Or some fried chicken.
I love a cheeseburger now and then. Go ahead, DJ.
But I think what really helps me is, staying active and, officiating basketball. Every year around this time of the year, I lose, 5 to 8 pounds just running up and down that basketball court. But then after the season's over, I still try to, I go to the Y, I try to stay active. I think my metabolism has changed. So it's really difficult for me to gain a lot of weight right now, to be honest.
Well,
I would have to
you
just
said
literally
your metabolism changed.
My metabolism.
So it went up. It's working faster?
Yes. Even though.
Now, you're not doing crack.
Not at all.
No drugs.
Absolutely not. Okay. Not at all. Clean as a bill of health. Okay.
Well, how did your metabolism go up?
It has. I mean, other than my aches and pains, I'm just as alert as I was when I was 25 years old.
And I believe that. I believe that. Yeah. I admire you. I do. So
I think it's the genes of Roosevelt Jones.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, because my dad's always been kind of a fit guy. Even though he never went out to the gym, he was always busy in the yard. There was never a moment where Dad wasn't doing something, and that's kind of where I get my drive from, I guess.
Okay, so let's talk about eating. You work at Kellogg's in the morning, and you drive in the morning for us, the organization. So do you always wake up and get a breakfast? Like, you know how everybody say you fast the night before. That's why it's called break fast.
Right.
Do you?
I don't eat breakfast every morning. I might eat, say, around 11 or 12-ish.
Wow. So you that's like a fast.
So I'll drink a cup of coffee. I might eat, maybe a sweet roll or something, or a bagel.
So you will eat a sweet roll?
Yeah, I will. And or a donut.
Oh man, okay.
And then I'll eat lunch. So if I eat lunch, it's not a heavy lunch because I don't want to get lazy at work. And then after work's over with, I might eat, let's say a pasta dish.
Now you're not the type of guy that bring your lunch to work, do you?
Sometimes, not always.
Really?
Sometimes, not
always. You
always.
Make your lunch and go to work with your lunch pail?
Like I'll fix my lunch
Like the Flintstones?
Not like the Flintstones.
That's amazing, man. I'm impressed.
I'll carry a lunch pail like Al Bundy.
Okay.
But I usually, sometimes I'll make my lunches on Monday for the rest of the week. And it may last me until Wednesday. So whatever I fix for lunch, I may have for dinner Tuesday night.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's a certain time you stop eating?
I stop eating at 9 o'clock. I don't eat past 9 o'clock.
But what time you go to bed?
About 10 o'clock, 10:30, just depends.
Okay.
Yeah. But I stop eating at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Because if I don't, I wake up tired.
Okay.
Because my body can't digest all that food. If I eat and go to sleep, it's just sitting there. Okay. I'm not burning anything. I'm not using up any energy.
Okay.
So all that food just kind of sits there. Then when I get up in the morning, I feel sluggish and lazy.
Okay.
So that's why I just stopped eating it.
Well, hey, man, you're doing it right, and I'm trying to figure out how you're doing it, so I'm going to keep watching you. You're definitely part of my 5 because I got to figure this thing out. Okay. All right. So the next thing is, how are you going to educate yourself? Understand this. Your progress is dependent on your personal growth. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we got to make growth a priority. Just like we talking about the weight thing, same concept. How are you expecting to achieve anything that is outside of your comfort zone without learning the skills that allow you to get there? A lot of us is afraid to learn new skills to better ourselves. I mean, we got to start doing that. I'm trying to get our community to think so differently. I mean, like this whole metaverse thing. You know, it's all new stuff, man. And at our age, it's like, I don't want to hear it. But the reality is, if God allows me to live, my children and my children's children are going to be talking about a conversation, and you never want to be no longer relevant. Because when you're no longer relevant, then you're no longer really important. Right. And that's sad, but it's true. Mm-hmm. And so we got to learn these tools. Whatever these tools are, we got to learn them. Even something, and I'm going to say this to all of our African-American men, and I am probably I'm probably one of the worst people to say this advice. Matter of fact, I know my wife and my kids will look at me and say, I can't believe Dad is about to say this. But I believe we should get a doctor, which I haven't done, and my personal friends who care about me. I believe we should get checkups, which I haven't done, because those are all prevention. And so I want to encourage all of you. I don't know what the fear is, what is the concern, but we should get our normal checkups. Why? Because if God's going to use us, we got to be able to be used. I don't want to be can't even breathe walking up the steps, you know? I got too much God doing in my life. And I got some good friends of mine who've had some real health scares. And I just wonder sometimes, I got the finance down pat. If I leave early, everybody's going to be good from a financial perspective. But some things we don't have to leave early if we handle our business. Why African American men are reluctant or fearful to do all of the health planning, going to doctors, I'm assuming, DJ, you do all that, right? You do your annual checkup, all that stuff?
Yeah.
And that's just something you just adopted?
Right. Yeah, it's just something that I do. Just from conversation from other people, a lot of guys, and a lot of them are black men, they don't want to know if something's wrong. A lot of people are afraid, like say if they don't feel right or they feel their body changing or they feel an ache and a pain, they would rather go to the store, buy something to wrap around their knee, or maybe take something over the counter because they don't want to hear something they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't want to go to the doctor because they don't want to hear the bad news, And on the other hand, I want to know, because if I catch something early, then maybe I can get it taken care of. Because my sister Colleen passed away at the age of 42.
42.
She was living in North Carolina, and she was having some problems, internally. And she went to the doctor, and she was misdiagnosed with diverticulitis and some other things. And she was in a marriage that wasn't working out. So me and my younger sister drove out to North Carolina to go pick her up, bring her home. Right?
Wow.
Without her husband at the time knowing. He was at work, went and got her and brought her back. So when she got back here, she was diagnosed 6 months later with stage 4 colon cancer. And so she was going through chemo, and her demise was actually the kidney failure. It wasn't the chemo that actually killed her. It was her kidneys could not take the medication, everything that she was taking, for the pain. So, but had she been diagnosed correctly earlier, then maybe she'd be alive today. So I've said to myself, if there's something going on with my body that I don't feel is right, I need to know, because it may be something that medicine can cure. Instead of me waiting, thinking that, okay, it ain't that big of a deal, or it'll pass, or I'm gonna just go ahead and take this. I need to try to find out.
And see, this is why healthy conversations like this is so important. So we've always called her Lisa, okay? So, of course, I've counseled your dad, because I can't even imagine my daughter or my son, but we're talking about a daughter now. So you lose a daughter, man, that, you don't know how to handle it. So I've dealt with your dad and counseled him, but you just gave a very valid point. Out of the 4 years you and I have been together, see, those are things that you're able to talk about. Basically my sister probably was misdiagnosed, and if we would have known, there's a good chance she could still be here. And that's huge. And so there goes some of your assignment. You just gave a very intelligent, this is one reason why. This is one reason why. So and how long has cousin been gone?
Oh, she passed away in 2009.
9.
On my mother's birthday.
Because Chris always posted every year on the birthday. Yep. So that's his other brother. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Well, there you go. You heard it from a man that not only is a leader of this organization, but he personally knows what it's like to lose someone so close as a little sister. And he feels that if you are diagnosed early, you could maybe resolve. And I believe that. I don't believe everybody's leaving here because God just checking us out.
Right.
I believe God expects us to be responsible. So thank you for sharing that. My other question now is, how are you going to spend your time outside of work? Okay? It's going to be a long, now 11 months. It'll be 11 months next week, right? So we're going to be a long 11 months ahead of you. What you do outside of work play a big factor in how you get what you want out of life. It's important what you're going to do that's going to make you happy, and how you're going to fulfill what you are. So you got to start making some serious decisions. The other point I want to ask you is, how are you going to handle toxic temptations in your life? When I say toxic, there are some things in your life that we're not proud of. We know we could do better without it. And what are we going to do about this? When that temptation is put in front of you, are you going to lean in, or are you going to deal with it Because if you don't make one, see, that's what it means by having life coaches and you know the brothers are meeting on Thursdays. That's what it means to come together, start talking, man. Because if we don't start doing that, man, we all over the place.
Right.
And we got to start doing that. And you know, it's amazing in the world we live in now. We're so all on our own islands. No one's really talking to each other.
No, you're right.
So there's no accountability coaches. You know, we see the tragic, but we never have nobody talk to us. Let's chime into that. Why? What is the whole thing why people can't come together?
You know, it's, you know, a lot of it, I think most people try to get over the hump. You know, another way of saying it, keeping up with the Joneses, you know. You got, I want. You know, but instead of us, they don't think about coming together. They think about, I got to get what I need. I got to get what I want. I got to get this to get me over the hump. Not realizing that coming together will help us all get over the hump. So I think it's just, I don't think it's intentional selfishness. I think it's just a lack of understanding. Okay. Again, it's a lack of understanding. You know, there were some things that you said today in your sermon, and it was really good. The systematic racism. From a kingdom perspective, that was a powerful message.
Keep talking louder, because could you
that was a powerful message, and there was a lot of things that you said, and you were speaking, and I was writing down stuff, and I don't know if you've recorded your own quotes, but I have a book of things that you've said in the past.
Okay.
So I'll share it with you later.
Okay.
But I'm gonna write these quotes down and put your name under.
Okay.
And I'm gonna share them with you.
Okay.
Because it was just a unique way that you put things, and it helps bring things in perspective, and it kind of marries right into this conversation that we're having. One of the things that you said, the greatest threat to your future is dwelling on your past.
Yeah.
You know, and people have been hurt, or they've had experiences with people that.
Say that again louder, DJ. The greatest threat. Say that.
The greatest threat to your future is dwelling on your past, and there were some things that people had gone through in the past that prevent them from moving forward to either communication, maybe starting their own business, opening up to somebody to help get some advice. You know, a lot of mistrust. And I think that's a lot of what's going on today. It's a trust thing. You know, people just don't want to open up. You know, so when you made that statement, it just all of a sudden opened up my understanding and perspective on a lot of things that has happened in my life, and talking to other people. You know, hearing their experiences. And it reminds me of a friend at work who's going something right now, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, he needs to hear something like this, and it needs to be broken down to him so he can understand what that means. You know, but again, I think a lot of what we're going through today is just fear. You know, why brothers don't come together and talk. You know,
fear, like you said, being let down.
Yeah, being let down. You know, disappointment.
Yeah.
You know, can't trust.
Yeah. So we got one more lesson we want to bring out. How are you, and we kind of mentioned it briefly with his sister, Lisa, how are you going to take care of your health, both physical and mental? So you got to get separate pieces of paper, you guys, and start, you know, writing this stuff down. You got to come with a game plan separately. I got a separate plan for my health. I got a separate plan for my mental. Because now this is important. Here's another quote you could take, Deacon, and it's so true. In life, and this is probably why I'm not one of those entitlement guys. This is probably why people, you know, think I'm a different political guy. But it's all this stuff is biblical, man. In life, we don't get what we deserve. Instead, we get what we ask for through our actions.
That's true.
I may not deserve to die, but I never stopped eating the pig feet.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I don't deserve to die, but I couldn't put that 40 down.
Okay.
I don't deserve to die, but I kept being a gangbanger. Now, my actions start changing. Get up every morning, work out, lose some pounds, say no to the pig feet, put the gun down, get around some friends. Now, guess what? And that's no different. You reap what you sow.
That's right. That's true.
They ain't Democrat. They ain't Republican. They ain't independent. That's the biblical principle.
Yes, sir.
And that's who I am. I'm a biblical principle guy. I don't always get it right. When I say get it right, I don't always feel like I know better. But I'm telling you, it works. If you plant a seed, you're going to get a harvest, whether it's good or bad. If you hate on people, hate coming back on you.
Absolutely.
Period. Say, man, I don't have no friends because you're mean. You're rude. How you say that? The Bible says you want friends, show yourself friendly. That's the Bible.
Right.
This ain't stuff we read. It's real. So keep that in mind. In life, we don't get what we deserve. Deserve is that whole personal feeling. I don't know why this happened to me. We get what we ask for through our actions. So life, other folks want to say the universe, all that other conversation stuff, the secret. I'm not really into that stuff. I don't buy, and I know the young generation talk about the vibe, and I believe I understand what they mean when they say vibe, or they talk about the energy,
your aura, and all that
but
stuff.
you ain't bringing stuff. I'm something. Well, okay, DJ, listen. Listen, Jesus, listen. All I'm saying is life will give you everything you ask for as long as you position yourself to receive it.
Right.
People want stuff for free.
Right.
And that's not going to happen.
Nope. It's going to cost you something.
It's going to cost you something. And you just mentioned earlier, delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. I won't get it today so I can afford it tomorrow. But I want it now. Nope, let's get it tomorrow. Because today, you're not ready for it.
Right.
That's a hard message to push. That's a hard pill to swallow.
It is. Because we live in a now generation.
Yeah. Because you mentioned her name, it kind of stuck to me. So Lisa was at the foundation.
Yep.
Colleen. She was at the foundation. And not to bring up any pain, but how did you, does that ever go away?
No, it doesn't. Constantly think about her. She was the only.
We're referring to his sister again, you guys, so we kind of changed the subject. We back on his sister.
She was the only one of my mom and dad's children who didn't have any kids. And when Colleen passed away, I was the only one in the hospital with mom and dad at the time, so I was sitting right next to her on the bed, and I watched her take her last breath. And mom and dad were having a conversation, and I told them that I think she was gone. That sticks in my mind. It doesn't define my thoughts. It doesn't define who I am. I'm not afraid to talk about it. However, it's something that I always think about,
Did you get mad at God?
I was upset, absolutely. And my dad.
Were you practicing the church at that time? I can't remember.
I wasn't necessarily in the church at that time.
Okay.
But I understood. My initial thought was, I was upset with God, and my dad was furious with God. Why you take my baby from me like this?
And he was big time deacon.
Yes.
At Manual.
Yes.
At the time.
Yes. And I was very upset. And if it wasn't for my spiritual background, I would still be upset to this day. Because there was a lot of things that I understood, but I didn't think it was fair. Why not me? Why not somebody else? Why her? She did not have one enemy in this world. Not one person didn't like her. Everybody loved Colleen.
Yeah.
Brenda Hunt,
Yep.
was a very good friend of Colleen's.
Yes. Yep.
She worked for Brenda for a while.
She sure did.
But, you know, it's something that I think about, but I don't let it get me down and give me the blues.
Well, we give a tribute to his sister. I've always called her Lisa, because that's her middle name, right?
Yes,
So,
Colleen Elisa.
But it's Colleen Lisa. And she was a former employee at the at the Community Foundation. Very, very, as he said, sweet lady, nice lady. And so we give a tribute to her.
And
Go
there's
ahead.
one more thing that you said today.
Okay.
That I wrote down.
Okay.
You said, as long as you stay in your pain, you can't move forward. I don't let that hold me back and make me bitter from seeking God.
Good.
So,
Good. So the person you are right now, I need y'all to hear me when I say this, because it's going to seem harsh. The person you are right now isn't worthy of the kind of reward you're asking for. But the opportunity to do something about it is in 2022. You know, don't ask for this big house until you get your report right. Because you don't need to purchase something and you can't afford it because your interest rate too high. Don't ask for this new car right now when you have your license. Okay?
Right.
Get that stuff right. Don't ask for the family right now when you ain't ready to do what you're supposed to. Don't do that. That's like me going to buy me a leisure suit. 38. Jacket. Let me see. What I used to be a 38. And my jacket was a
42?
42.
42, 44.
That's like me going to buy that. Now, I'm going to not leisure suit, y'all. I'm going to New York Collection. I want a gabardine 38. I wear 38, 30 because I wanted my pants to be cut right above my shoes.
Okay.
32, it would have been a little down too far. That's like me walking in that store with Brother Lamar, and we both said, give us a 32. We ain't ready for that, right? Now, we can make a difference. Start hooping in the morning, putting the food away, do. Then we walk in there and get us a suit we want. Y'all, that's how life works. All the stuff you want right now, you ain't deserving of it, but you can change starting today. It's 2022. We're going into the month of February. I'm encouraging you to email us, to write us, give us your progress report. We want to be your life coach to encourage you to do it. We believe you can do anything you want out of life, but it's going to take some work. Flip that switch, everybody, and start doing everything you want to do. Deacon, it's always a good conversation with you. Pastor Todd, we appreciate those words that you said. There was one thing I sent you, DJ. I can't remember if you found it. I want to get that thought that someone posted, and I thought about it. I thought it was an interesting post, but if you can't find it, don't worry about it. I want to get
Was
your
it about
thought.
the driver's training?
No. It was something else that someone said about your circle or about who's in your world and what you got to do differently. But don't worry about that.
Okay.
Listen, I want to encourage everybody, because our time is about up, is that become solution-oriented. And when I say that, as I said last week, you got to look past problems and you got to find solutions. Deacon, say something to your audience, man. We got 5 minutes. We're going to be leaving early, right on time. Anything you want to share with the group, your audience, the community? One good news, we don't want to go into no names right now.
Right.
But what is a good project we're about to do at Kingdom Builders?
One of them is we got an elevator that's going to be built this year. Elevator that'll get you up to the 2nd and 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Waiting a long time.
Yeah, we waited a long time. 4 years.
Yep.
4 years. But God has blessed us, and we will give honor to where honor is due, and we will give credit to where credit is due. But right now, we're going to keep it on the down low. But we are so excited that we will have an elevator built, put in our facility. We will meet all the demands that the city asked of us. And so we'll be able to continue to do the things that God has asked us to do. Do you have any final words, Dickie, you want to say to the audience?
Yep, Kingdom Builders always here to help. I'm always here to do things for the community and try to provide a service. Never forget who the provider is.
Never forget. And again, we want to continue to help you, But we need you to remember, I need you to seek the helper. And the helper is Jesus Christ Almighty. If you want help, we'll help you, but seek the helper. Because if we keep helping you and we don't see a change in you, then we're not doing something right. So again, thank you, Deacon, for that. We like to end, like always. One of the things I tell everybody that you're supposed to have as a people, if you're going to do any type of networking power, you got to have a map and you got to have a globe. Because you got to know where you are in time. You got to know where you are in the present time. It's 2022. Things are changing. But you know what? Because I know where I'm at, then I know what I can do. Issachar in Chronicles told us that they understood the time. That's what made them a great tribe. The worst thing in the world is to look at 2022 in the mind of the 1960s. That's not the time we're living in.
Right.
We may have some of those remnants and baggage, but that's not the time we live in. I always close by acknowledging my ancestors, Leo Dale Perry Sr., shoulders I stood on. Ruby Elizabeth Perry. Those are my maternal grandparents. Those are my beloved mother parents. And of course, we have our mother with us still. We'll be celebrating her birthday March 16th. Wow. Last party we had for her 2 years ago, right when the pandemic hit. You know, we all went to Florida as a big family. And then we celebrated her again at the casino. This year, we plan on doing something big again. And Edward West Smith, where I got my name from, and Gussie Smith. Those are my paternal grandparents from my father, the late Hugh Smith Sr. Every time I mention his name, I get choked up. But listen, I'm grateful for being here. I'm grateful for the staff that came to help us out. If you were a Chief fan, get over it. You didn't lose nothing. If you was betting, that was your business. But I don't think you're going to get anything other than you lost. Live your life. Be your Super Bowl champion yourself. Make something happen in your life and buy your own ring because you're a winner. You're not a loser. Let's pray. Kind Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for this show, for our staff that was here on the camera. We thank you for Chanel. Thank you for Lamar Hubbard, Facebook Live, my son, T2, and Mike, our engineer, and his guests. Thank you. And for AccessVision, in Jesus' name, bless Battle Creek, our mayor, our city manager, our commissioners. Amen.
Amen.
All right.